Doctor Who, The Underwater Menace, the third story of the second Doctor, is written by Jeffrey Orme and starring Patrick Troughton, Anika Wills, Michael Grace and Fraser Hines. So the story was originally called Under the Sea, Atlanta and the Fish People. There was problems with the script. It was dropped from the production schedule after its order. Some of it was due to concerns that it would require higher budgets than was available. A new script written by William Eames was ordered to replace it, but he was ill, and when it was unlikely that he would finish the script, the title was changed to The Underwater Menace, was brought back into the schedule. Because of all these problems, the individual episodes were recorded just a week before they were due to be released. They shot this serial at Riverside Studios in Hammersmith. So the story started off with Jamie's first travelling in the TARDIS, and he doesn't believe what the ship can do. So the TARDIS arrive in Atlantis, 1970, on the volcanic island. As they climb through the cages, they get captured, chucked into the cage, and then escorted to the dining hall. Lolan prepares the Doctor and his companions for sacrifice. Zaroff gets a message from the Doctor that he knows a secret, so he stops the Doctor from getting eaten by the sharks, as he was tied up on the plank, and so were Jamie, Ben and Polly. So after the Doctor orders them to be released as well, it turns out he hasn't got a secret and is allowed to live due to sense of humour. So while Jamie and Ben were sent to mine, the Doctor has a talk with Zaroff and realises that they're in Atlantis. Polly gets tied up in the lab as Damon was trying to turn Polly into a fish person, which is pretty interesting. Back in December 2011, BBC announced that Part 2 that was missing have been found and brought by Terry Burnett, the TV engineer, with only cuts from Australian censors missing. The Doctor wasn't impressed with Zaroff's experiment and also messed with the lights, as Polly was about to get injected, but it distracted Damon, so he complains to Zaroff and suspects the Doctor did it on purpose. Meanwhile, Ara rescued Polly, so Zaroff tells the Doctor that he plans to core into the centre of the Earth and drain the water away so as to render Atlantis accessible by land.
Lift Atlantis from the ocean, make it dry land again.
Exactly, but now, how are you going to do it? Even a genius like you.
The Doctor says it'll blow the Earth apart. Zaroff admitted that this is an issue before saying that will be his final testament. Jamie and Ben met Sean and Jacko at the mines and helped them hide. Sean and Jacko said they have found an underground shaft which they will use to escape. Ben and Jamie joins them, but the alarm went off in the mine, but they sneaked away. So Jamie slips down the cliff from the edge. Sean goes on to see if there was a better means of escape, while Jacko and Ben go back to help Jamie. As the Doctor snuck into the cave system, he met Ara and reunited with Polly. So the Doctor realises that Ramo doesn't trust Zaroff, so he asked Ara to distract Damon so he can talk to Raymore privately, so she did. The Doctor convinced Raymore that he has important information regarding Zaroff. They go somewhere private to discuss, which is in the temple. The Doctor shows Raymore what Zaroff was planning, with the jug and fire using as a prop. Raymore is convinced and says he will summon him to an audience with the Supreme Leader, Thaus, but warns the Doctor that Thaus is a strong advocate of Zaroff's and it won't be easy to convince him. So the Doctor explains Zaroff's plan to Thaus, but he asks the Doctor to let him consider alone. But then the Doctor and Raymore got brought back into the temple as Thaus has made a decision and about to answer as Zaroff and his gods came in, and Thaus was like, do with them what you will. Patrick Troughton gives off great performance as the second Doctor. I think Anika Wills and Michael Grace are great as Polly and Ben Jackson. I love Fraser Hines as Jamie McCrimmon. A further complication arose because Fraser was brought on as the Doctor's companion barely a month before the story was about to start production. Joseph first plays Professor Zaroff, first name Herman in the novel written by Nigel Robinson. However, his first name was Hans in the Doctor, His Lives and Times. An insane scientist who really loves his evil plans. I thought he was really good. Also, Joseph played Professor Dr. Meds in Diamonds Are Forever. Fish people were humans that Damon converted into humanoid fish, so they can breathe underwater. I wonder how Aquaman will feel about this. I think they're a really cool concept. I would love to see them come back. And apparently Patrick Troughton didn't like the costume and makeup design and thought it was ridiculous, and neither did Innes Lloyd. As he said, it looks like something from 1950s American B-movie. Catherine Howe plays Ara, a servant girl in the Atlantis who hated Zaroff. I really like her, she's canny. Tom Watson plays Ramo, a priest who also hated Zaroff. I really like that guy as well. Colin Jeavons plays Damon, a surgeon that I already mentioned who surgically altered humans into fish people. I love that character. Noel Johnson plays King Thaus of Atlantis during the time where the Zaroff discovered the lost city. The actor does a great job. Paul Annell and P.G. Stevens plays Jacko and Sean, the only survivors of the crew of the merchant ship, which sank after hitting a mine left over from World War II. I love those guys as well. Peter Stevens plays Lolam, the high priest of the goddess. Amdo, brilliant character, and apparently the on-screen version, the character only appeared in part 1 and 3. Nigel Robinson added the part where he was searching out Zaroff and attempting to kill him for heresy and both drowning when Atlantis floods in the novel. The casts are fantastic. I like the wacky music by Dudley Simpson. I always love his music scores. I thought the soundtrack for the atmosphere was really perfect fitting. But of course, after when the Abominable Snowman animation came out, we all thought that this was the end of Doctor Who animation, until the announcement of the Underwater Menace animation, which gets released on November 2023 as part of the show's 60th anniversary. When I found out about the announcement, I was at the chip shop, because I was at the karaoke in Morpeth, name of a town in Northumberland, and looked on newsfeed on Facebook while I was waiting to get my order, and I saw it. I was like, yes! It's the best news all day! So yeah, I couldn't be any happier that the animation of Doctor Who of 1960s are back! So Ramo stood up to Zaroff as he hates him and doesn't trust him. As the Doctor and Ramo are taken away to be fed to sharks, Thaus is alone with Zaroff. The Doctor and Ramo are about to get their heads sliced off for the sharks. There was a voice from Amdo telling the gods to bow their heads. The Doctor recognised the voice and it was Polly, so he and Ramo escape and went inside the statue with his companions. The Doctor tells Sean and Jacko to tell the fish people to stop with the food supplies. So they did, as Sean was picking on poor fish people. The scene where they're swimming under the water is pretty good for its time and low budget, with an interesting choice of music added. Meanwhile, the Doctor and Polly disguise themselves as regular Atlantis shoppers in the marketplace, whilst Jamie and Ben disguise themselves as guards. Avoiding the real guards, the four of them trek Zaroff away from his guards and into the temple where he is captured. So Zaroff tells the Doctor that without him, the plan will go ahead. The Doctor doesn't believe it, as Zaroff's eager maniacal ways would stand in the way of such a hands-off approach. So the Doctor, Jamie and Ben went to the lab, check on Zaroff's progress, while Polly and Ramo guard Zaroff. Sadly, it doesn't go as planned as Zaroff breaks out. He impales Ramo with the spear and took Polly away. The Doctor needed to ask Ramo for directions, but he finds Ramo injured and then died, which is a sad scene. The Doctor and Ben went to the lab, while Jamie rescues Polly. Sean and Jacko steps in, but Zaroff managed to escape, but back at the council chamber, the penny drops. Thaus realises the Doctor is telling the truth, so Zaroff shots Thaus and his guards, and thinks that nothing in the world can stop him now.
Nothing in the world can stop me now!
And to those who says he's overreacting, the whole point is that he's supposed to be mental. The missing frames are still held by National Archives of Australia, and once reincorporated made the episode complete for the first time since the master tape was wiped in July 1969. A brief clip of Zaroff drowning from episode 4 survives, for similar censorship reasons. So the Doctor and Ben discovers the two guards are shot dead, and Thaus is wounded, so he's taken back to the temple. Jacko and Sean didn't know what to do. They attempted to leave the Doctor to it. The Doctor came back with Thaus and reveals his plans, and that the flood Atlantis to stop Zaroff. He tells Jacko and Sean to move the people, while he and Ben will start the process. Zaroff hears that workers are leaving their post because of the lack of numbers of food, and scavenge their own food. Ben pretends to be a guard, and I love the scene where the guard is like, password, and Ben was like, how am I supposed to know? I've been working all day, chasing him all day. It's so appropriate and makes a valid point. So they go inside the generating station and make the reactor overload before heading off to Zaroff's lab. Because of the radiation, Jamie and Polly notice one of the cave walls glowing. The place was about to get flooded, so Jamie and Polly made it to the land where the TARDIS is, thinking that the Doctor and Ben have died. In the end, Zaroth was trapped in his lab and drowned. Everyone is safe. Arath, Thaus and Damon thinks the Doctor has died. In terms of the new temple, Thaus wants to raise a stone for the Doctor, but Damon said there isn't any temples or fish people in the new Atlantis. He says superstition caused the trouble with Zaroth, and the restoration of Atlantis will be the Doctor's memorial. So the Doctor and Ben made it back to the land where the TARDIS is. As everyone's inside, the TARDIS dematerialised. Jamie really enjoys travelling in the TARDIS, and it was so funny that the companions were making fun of the Doctor for not being able to control the TARDIS. The Doctor denies it, as he says he can take everyone to Mars, but obviously takes them to the moon instead in the next story, the moon base, as the TARDIS goes out of control. Some of the great ideas in this story. What did you think of the Underwater Menace? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.